Hello guys. We all know how good Russian criminal gang, also known as the Russian government, is at lying, faking and pretending. At the moment, perhaps this is their main strategy to still seem a strong country, a strong army, or a strong economy, when in reality, all these vital for the survival of the Kremlin spheres demonstrate serious cracks. Unfortunately, there are some naive people in different corners of the world who still believe Russian narratives when their reality demonstrates something totally different. For example, Russia is not able to control its borders in the Kursk region and had to invite soldiers from a different country to back up Russian army. Okay, these are North Korean soldiers, that's crazy, but still, they are helping Russia that just 2.5 years ago, before the start of this invasion, pretended to be the strongest army in the world. And the same is with the economy. No matter how hard Putin and co try to hide the real numbers, to fake the success of the Russian GDP and so on, their central bank had to raise key rate to 21%, which is historic and very worrisome for the Russians move. And all because they are desperate to slow down the inflation. Another beautiful bonus from the sanctions. Quite soon, perhaps Russians won't be able to use their Visa and MasterCards. Something that we use multiple times per day, something that is just like brushing your teeth, and they will not have this opportunity. And no, not because the West is bad and Ukraine is violent, but because of their war against all the democratic world, they became too isolated and they cannot enjoy the good things that people who respect others can. But economy is becoming one of my favorite subjects, and you know why? Because the collapse of the Soviet Union was very much influenced by the collapse of the Soviet economy. And right now, we have a lot of systems that Russia is on the urge. My name is Anna. I'm from Ukraine, I'm in Ukraine, and if you want to see Russia defeated and inflation going up and up and up for Moscow, subscribe. We will discuss that sometime soon on the channel. And right now we will start with this historic move of the Russian central bank that was reported in the Russian newspapers because unfortunately with all your propaganda there are some things that you cannot hide. And Russian central bank had to raise key rate to 21%. Before that they had 19%, which is already high, and those of you who are into business economy understand how difficult it is for crediting the population, small businesses, middle businesses, but Russia is not about the middle class. This is, by the way, another very troublesome phenomenon of this part of the world. They don't want to shape and develop their middle class, something that is actually a basis for democratic changes in the country. They prefer oligarchs and serfs. That's the way they organize their society, and it's very different in Ukraine. And actually, I consider that one of the reasons why, despite decades of occupation of the Soviet Union, communization, Russification, our love for private property, our life for self-governance, for independence, shaped this middle class. It was always the main part of Ukrainian population. And in Russia, it's oligarchs, those who dream to become oligarchs and are ready to do whatever they are asked, and the serfs, who believe they cannot change anything. And that's the reason why they are so desperate. So this is another serious hook to this middle class and so on, but even depressed and pessimistic Russian economic analysts, the one that perhaps are getting paid by the Russian government too, they thought that that the central bank will raise the rates, the interest to 1%. but they did it 2% at once, which is huge and which is a very vivid symptom, the one that you cannot hide, just like chicken pox. You cannot hide it. So that they are trying to fight inflation, and inflation is there to eat Russian ruble, to eat Russian war economy, and this will happen. I know I will have some comments stating, number one, well, you're speaking about that for quite a long time and it did not happen yet. It is happening. Russia is hiding much of the information. Russia is all about propaganda and censorship. Russia claimed they will take Kyiv in 3 days, but no. Subscribe to see the collapse of the Kremlin and to demonstrate your solidarity with Ukraine and all freedom-loving people. So, right now, despite all the efforts to hide this inflation, such moves like raising your key rates to historic 21% is definitely an illustration that they are going all in to aggressively fight this inflation that is so visible and definitely is a demonstration of Russian economic vulnerability. Another beautiful update is that pretty soon Russians won't be able to use their Visa and MasterCards, all because, well, it's important, Visa and MasterCard left Russia in 2022. And my respect to these companies, because unfortunately many either still continue working with Russia, changing their names and so on, or did that under pressure in 23, 24. Visa and MasterCard left Russia in 2022, but many of the services were already sold to Russia and they can actually operate like for 5 years, like the expiry dates of the cards and so on. But what happens right now is that many of their security certificates, I have put down that security certificates of these cards with chips will expire. And this may potentially cause lots of troubles with payments, using them in this like everyday activity and disrupt it, like paying in transports, like buying things with offline terminals and so on and so forth. Just think about that. Stop for a second and think about that. Those cards that we use on a daily basis in many places and we don't even consider as a part of our freedom or a part of our normalcy, but they are also a signal where Russia is heading, that they are moving to the isolation. And if we are not active enough, if we are not decisive enough, Russia will turn into another big North Korea, because people in North Korea live without internet, without MasterCards, or without sandwiches or chewing gums or music. I mean, the one that is not North Korean and not glorifying Kim Jong-un. So this is insane that so many world leaders are so tired or so frightened that they keep observing how Russia is turning into this crazy dictatorship. It has never been a safe and sane place, but come on. And if you want Russians to use MasterCards, if you want them to return to normal living ever, we have to defeat Russia. They actually desperately need to be defeated. This is the only way to liberate them and to give them another chance, because how else do you see it? If Putin remains in power, Gutierrez and others start legitimizing him and his actions. Okay, Ukraine is sacrificed, but how do you see the evolution inside Russia? Do you think they return back to normal? They return to respecting international laws, the ones which they destroyed with their actions? No, they will keep undermining those rules, those laws that actually helped this planet survive during very problematic 20th and 21st centuries. And I don't know why so many keep observing. Recently I've read that Chinese hackers, Russian hackers interfere in the election processes in the US, in the EU. It's common practice. Why aren't our hackers interfere in there? Well, because it's not good, because it's not democratic. But guys, these countries like China, Russia, Iran, they are already fighting against you too, using hybrid tools, interfering, mocking. Trust me, I'm Ukrainian. Subscribe to my Instagram, X, Threads to see more of the everyday Ukrainian life, and of course join the Discord that we have. All the links that you need are in the description of this video, same as our merch shop that has lots of items that work well as reminders and conversation starters about Ukraine. Thank you so much for buying me coffees, becoming my patrons and sponsors of the channel, but most importantly, thank you for standing with Ukraine. Slava Ukraini!